We are here at the AI House at CES with Adrian McDermott. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me to chat.
I'm so excited to hear more about your vision for AI, the future, and what your company's doing right now in the space.
Yeah, so Zendesk is a customer service software platform. We have over 100,000 customers, and they use us to basically talk to their partners, their customers, their employees, whomever it is they need to have conversations with. I think from an AI point of view, it's pretty clear that this is a technology which is going to revolutionize the conversations at scale business, right? That business has been driven for, let's call it 70, 80 years, primarily by scaling with human workforce, right? The agents, the advocates, whatever you want to call them, of customer service. I think we're moving into this new era where we can have digital assistants, and that takes two forms, right? One form is you could think of it as the co-pilot form, where if you are a customer service agent, you know, there's an angel on your shoulder that's read the entire internet, retained it, understands everything about your business, and can keep you on track and consistent, giving them the right answer all the time. There's also the autopilot experience, where perhaps someone doesn't need a personal human conversation, and they can have a conversation, you know, a customer can have a conversation directly with a bot and just kind of flow through and be, you know, have 100% of that conversation handled by automation, which allows us to scale without humans and could lead to sort of really exciting business models and changes.
There's so many people that I talk to, and they are a little concerned when it comes to AI and their jobs. But there's also a lot of talk about the jobs it will create, and also the ease of use for people who might be overworked right now. When people come to you with some of those concerns, what do you tell them, and especially what your company's doing to try to make work easier on people who are really, in some cases, overworked?
Yeah. Well, customer service is useful because we've seen three or four technology revolutions so far. Like initially, all service was personal. Like we had to stand in the same physical space to have a service conversation, or maybe you wrote me a letter, right? Possibly fax.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, it's okay. And the introduction of the telephone, it brought us the rituals of customer service, right? We could, you know, there were scripts, there were cues, there were conversations, and we could scale the whole thing. And that was great. Then along came the internet, and then everyone could do it. It was democratized. What is interesting about each of those developments was the volume of contact between businesses or entities and their customers went up every single time, right? And so we ended up needing more humans. It's the same as the introduction of the ATMs in banking, of cash machines. People trusted banks more, they used them more, banks offered more services, they needed more employees. We've seen this over and over and over again. Technology creates growth. That said, certain jobs change, right? And I think that from a customer service employee point of view, we're seeing an enrichment of the skill set with the co-pilot paradigm, and we're seeing a removal of a lot of what we would call the tier one support, the easy repetitive tasks. I forgot my password, what's my balance, when does my flight leave, when do I drop this off? A lot of those things are getting automated. That's leaving more room for quality and engagement. One thing to remember, there aren't very many companies out there who say to themselves, you know what? I have enough customer service. I don't need any more. Right?
You always need more.
People always want more.
That's right. And I want to know a little bit more about you and what was it that made you excited about the AI space? Like what led you to this moment here at CES, AI House? But like what started that spark?
You know, in 2014, we built an AI model and we trained it on what we thought was a huge data set, 100,000 tickets. And we're like, oh, this thing is amazing. You know, it can answer on a good day a lot of 20% of customer conversations. But the reality was the experience wasn't always great, right? And I think we've been waiting a long time for the technology to catch up to the promise, the technology to catch up to our aspirations. And I think with large language models, we're kind of getting to that point where we have the unlock, where you can actually deploy this to a group of humans who will throw random queries at it in their own language and their own way of describing things, their own verbiage. You can throw what you want at it, and it won't embarrass you. And I think from a technologist, finally now we can begin building on this, you know, we can stand on the shoulders of giants in terms of research scientists, and we can start building applications on top of it that I think, you know, grow our customers' businesses, enrich conversations, and really work.
I'm excited to hear about the evolution of everything, but what do you think is going to be the future a year from now or even 5 years from now?
I think, you know, I think change with AI, it's going to be a lot like Hemingway's definition of bankruptcy.
Okay.
Change comes slowly and then all at once. And I think what we'll see is this adoption of rich artificial intelligence experiences everywhere in our lives, little by little by little. And then one day we'll just realize that we are surrounded by new applications, new business models, right? You know, you take your first Waymo ride, you're all excited that there's no driver in the car. You take your 14th, you're like, you don't even notice anymore. You know, you start having automated calls with the people that you deal with, the companies that you deal with. Initially, you're like, oh, it's surprising that actually worked and was a good experience.
Right.
Eventually, you'll be like, I couldn't ever see myself pressing 0 to speak to the operator again, right?
That's an interesting future, because I can't imagine that yet.
Yeah. You're sort of telling us a little about your inner Karen there, but we'll keep going. But I tend to agree, right? And I think it's we'll be frogs in the pan, slowly getting boiled and surrounded. But I think as a result, our experiences will be better, because there are so many experiences that can be improved with, you know, utilizing the fact that you don't need another human, right? There's a zero marginal cost to improving and personalizing the experience if done well.
Thank you so much for sharing your vision, your thoughts, and for being here at the AI House at CES.
Thank you so much. Great conversation.